Good morning, and welcome to the second day of this year's ULI Spring Meeting. I hope that you are catching up with old friends, making new connections, and exploring the wide range of content we have to offer. As always, this event would not be possible without the time and commitment of many members and staff. I would like to thank the Denver Host Committee, chaired by Chris Frampton, Sarah Rockwell, and Paul Washington, as well as Michael Lachese and the staff team at ULI Colorado, Mike Zollner, ULI Colorado's District Council Chair, and other member leadership for everything they have done to make the local elements of this year's event so successful. We are all disappointed we are not able to meet in Denver in person and look forward to a future spring meeting in the city. Ahead of this morning's general session, I am joined by Jonathan Brinsden, ULI's Americas Chair, who will share his thoughts on our program of work in the Americas and the progress we are making in the important area of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. Jonathan, when you started your term as chair last July, you were fully supportive of ULI's efforts to lead on diversifying the commercial real estate industry, as well as to addressing equity and systemic racism in real estate. You clearly stated your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Can you outline some of the progress we have made to date?
Thanks, Gwyneth. Yes, a lot of work has been put in by both staff and members since last summer to not only take immediate steps to diversify our membership and member leadership, but also to tackle racial inequity in commercial real estate. We have been focused on how to strategically make real progress over the long term and measure our impact. A staff task force and a DEI council made up of members and staff across our region worked throughout last fall to provide recommendations, which were synthesized into a comprehensive diversity, equity, and inclusion action plan known as the Blueprint. The Blueprint was reviewed by the Americas Executive Committee in January, and we are now fully focused on implementing it.
The Blueprint is based around three foundational elements: diversifying ULI in commercial real estate, creating a culture of inclusion, and addressing equity and systemic racism through education and programs of work. Let's turn first to diversifying ULI and our industry. We have said before how important it is that ULI and the wider real estate industry better reflects the communities which we serve. How are we looking to achieve that aim?
We are focused on accelerating the representation of Black, Indigenous, people of color, as well as LGBTQ+ communities and gender in both our membership and staff. One key step in achieving this is gauging where we stand today and establishing a benchmark from which we can measure our progress. We published our first detailed demographics report last August, which included gender representation for all staff and members, as well as race and ethnicity data for US-based members. Because we only recently added race and ethnicity in December 2019, we have very low reporting on this.
Great point, Jonathan. We encourage all to update their member profile so that we have accurate data of our membership. We will be working this year on adding race and ethnicity for members based in Canada, and will once again publish ULI demographics in December's annual report.
In terms of how we are trying to deliver change, we are leveraging education, our networks, and establishing or expanding partnerships. Specifically, we are continuing to expand educational programs such as Urban Plan and University Connections to reach many different colleges and universities, including historically Black colleges and universities. We're looking to expand our real estate diversity initiative that is active in our district council network and acts as a comprehensive training and mentorship program for women and people of color.
Our Product Council network has likewise been focused on diversifying their membership. Through guest opportunities, the Product Councils have included more underrepresented members to their meetings. DEI vice chairs have been selected at some of the Product Councils. We encourage all Product Councils to have a designated person or persons focused on this.
We also have a number of active partnerships in place with key organizations that share similar objectives to us. Some of these partnerships have resulted in guest opportunities with our product councils, as you just mentioned. Other partnerships have really allowed ULI to expand program offerings to more diverse populations. I'm glad, Gwyneth, that you serve on the board of REAP and were able to understand the need to work with your team to create the virtual academy to allow REAP to continue to reach diverse candidates and for ULI to welcome these candidates as new members to ULI.
Thank you, Jonathan. The ULI REAP Academy graduated almost 200 candidates last December, the largest class in REAP's 22-year history. The current academy, offered right now, has 125 candidates. We are committed to continuing this partnership as the REAP network is strong and each candidate receives a 1-year free membership to ULI.
The ULI REAP Academy has been a wonderful example of a strong partnership, and welcoming those graduates to ULI and helping them navigate all that ULI has to offer is vitally important. To be truly successful in diversifying ULI, we have to ensure that we create a community that is welcoming and inclusive.
Your point is well taken. ULI's staff team has undergone mandatory online DEI training, and we have provided a range of other resources through LinkedIn Learning. Staff also participated in the groundwater training offered by the Racial Equity Institute. ULI has hired a consultancy to review our internal policies, procedures, and practices to ensure that we are attracting and retaining a diverse range of talent from across all backgrounds. Further, this will enable ULI to understand biases and remove barriers so that we all work in an open, transparent organization. As an organization, we have also celebrated events that acknowledge the contribution of different groups. For example, in February, we celebrated Black History Month by recognizing the work of leading Black ULI members, such as Lisa Gordon, Michael Banner, Gabrielle Bullock, and Ed Henley. In March, we celebrated Women's History Month, where over 1,000 members registered for WLI events on topics such as women in construction, navigating the C-suite, and tackling the tough issue of affordable housing. We also plan to celebrate Pride Month in June and Hispanic Heritage Month in the fall.
Building awareness around everything we're doing to foster DEI is so important in creating a culture of inclusion. ULI just launched a quarterly members newsletter, which will bring together what ULI is doing in one place to keep everybody informed of our progress. The newsletter will also include information how our program of work is addressing systematic racism. One area where structural and systematic racism can be clearly seen is in housing, where the legacies of policies such as redlining still create problems today. We see the opportunity to leverage the work of ULI's Terwilliger Center to advance best practices that will help provide more affordable and equitable housing options. The Center's Housing Opportunity Conference and its Housing Awards program are both excellent ways to share experiences of what works and make these best practices better known.
But of course, structural racism is not restricted to housing alone. We believe ULI is well positioned to use the work of its centers to share knowledge and best practices and find new solutions to address a wide range of issues. Support for climate resilience in vulnerable communities, identifying equitable infrastructure solutions, and advancing health and social equity projects are all areas where we think we can make a difference. We will also look to provide assistance to communities in need of solutions to challenges caused by historic racist practices and policies through advisory services and technical assistance panels. Both of these programs will bring the collective experience and expertise of ULI's members together to focus on specific real-world problems.
There is a lot of work for us all to do, but I think we're off to a great, strong start. I would like to thank everyone who has given so generously of their time and knowledge to get us this far, and I'm looking forward to seeing our DEI program go from strength to strength.
Outside of our focus on DEI, we have a very active program of work across the Americas region. What are you seeing across our networks that you think is particularly interesting or exciting?
This week's spring meeting is obviously a cornerstone of our annual program in the Americas, and I'm delighted that we have managed to engage with over 3,500 members virtually. I think we have some thought-provoking speakers and panels that should spark plenty of conversations and online networking. I'm also looking forward to next week's product councils and forums that will allow full members to discuss and debate key issues in more detail. I also continue to be very impressed by what we have going on across the district council network. There is no doubt that the past year of working through the pandemic has been challenging for everybody, but the way that our district councils have continued to deliver programming at the local level has been truly impressive. District councils have managed to host over 1,500 events in the past year, and these have been invaluable in enabling our members to continue to meet and exchange ideas with their network.
I know education is a passion of yours. You shared the story that as a graduate student, you learned of ULI because of the case statements. You read everything you could get your hands on and credit that wealth of information with enhancing your learning and ability to apply what you learned in your business. Can you share a little bit about your keen interest in ULI learning?
Sure. I'm pleased with the progress we're making in ULI learning. Not only is education an important part of our DEI initiative, but it is also essential if we're going to continue to train and develop talent from all backgrounds to make our industry stronger. Better trained and informed real estate professionals can only lead to higher standards and more responsible development and management, which will in turn improve our communities. The course offerings, both live and on demand, as well as the certification programs ULI has, are really good. There are learning opportunities for students as well as early career and mid-career professionals. I strongly encourage our members to go to ULI Learning, to see the plethora of offerings there are, and to reach out to our Executive Vice President, Cindy Chance, for more insights. I know we're at time now. I'll conclude by saying I'm really looking forward to the possibility of meeting everyone again in person at the fall meeting in Chicago.
Jonathan, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the meeting. We now turn our attention to this morning's general session, where Richard Florida from the University of Toronto will moderate a discussion on what cultural and technological impacts will result from the pandemic. Richard, over to you.